All right. Hello, Raul. How are you?
Good. How are you? We are
Good.
back after a long time.
Yeah, I think 3 months or
Yeah.
something. So,
Oh wow.
some
Yeah.
time away, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm back, and I mean, AI has changed a lot. Every
Hmm.
day it changes a lot. Sometimes I think it's on the image generation models that then they do something crazy, and now you can have videos with audio, and it's getting super powerful. And then other models starting to get smarter and things like that. So I think there's always something more interesting to talk about every week, every month. But I think today the idea is to talk about a software that it's been around for many years.
Right.
It's super powerful. I think sometimes people love it, sometimes people hate it. It can be very complicated to use,
Yeah.
right? It's so open that it's also challenging to figure out how to use it, right?
Right.
And the more you learn about it, the better the things you do, but also to be able to do those things, it takes a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those also that in construction is used a lot because
Yeah. Well,
it
it's
does a lot of calculations and things like that. So
yeah, and yeah. So we obviously are talking about Microsoft Excel, right?
yes.
Yes, and Microsoft Excel is, I would say, backbone of any modern business, construction or otherwise. But in construction, it is the programming language of all the engineers and project managers and even executives, right? Uh, Most of the data that comes in construction, it is stored in these Excel databases or Excel sheets, and executive relies on them for the dashboards. They can see where the projects are going. Project managers do their planning on Excel, their timesheets on Excel, even their schedule on Excel, even submittal, which is like a document when you create a work process and you give to owners or reviewers. They provide their comments in Excel. And sometimes the JHAs like joint hazard assessment or other kind of documents, people prefer Excel instead of Word document. So Excel is everywhere in construction, and the smart the engineers, they can hack and program Excel, and they can build stuff on Excel. So Excel is the, I would say, backbone of construction processes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think it's so powerful, but also it has a really hard time explaining when something didn't work, right? You suddenly
Right.
see an error and figuring out what's happening, it's very challenging. I don't think Microsoft is the best at communicating what went wrong.
Right.
So sometimes you forgot to include a I don't know, parentheses in a formula, and suddenly the formula doesn't work and you don't even understand what's missing.
Yeah. Yeah. Has no name,
Yeah.
undefined. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think we can start with the very basic of using AI to make working with Excel better, right?
Hmm.
And then we can move into something more complex. But I think the first thing is just now with tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, if you want to do something in Excel that requires complex formulas, you can just ask ChatGPT, hey, I want to do this in Excel. Can you help me figure out the formulas? Can you help me
Right.
figure out how to structure it? And it's going to give you the formulas you need to write. The more context and content you give to it, the better it will be, right? So
Yeah.
if you include a screenshot maybe of the data you have, or just how your data is structured, then it's going to be better in the
Yeah.
instructions. But if not, at least it's going to be telling you, hey, yeah, you need to use this formula, and then a for something else, and just you will get the formula
Yeah.
working almost since the first pass. No need to make a lot of changes. So I think that's where when I use Excel and I don't
Yeah,
know how to do something, I just go straight into Gemini and
yeah,
ask, hey, how can I do this thing in Excel? And then
yeah,
and it has helped me learn things that I didn't even know were possible in Excel.
yeah. And I think anybody who wants to use Excel, obviously learning what are the formulas, they are very useful. But the AI part is powerful in the sense you not just doing the work that you need to do, but you are also learning in the way. So once you try 2 or 3 times, you will remember those formulas. And so previously we in construction there are always like people who take classes, right? They come to our site, and we had that experience who will teach, like do 4 hour a week class on Excel and how to program Excel and all those. And these classes tend to be very geared towards the engineers and people, project managers. But Excel is a tool that anybody in the company can use. Even it's useful for supers, keeping track of all their labors, where they are going, what is their timesheets look like. So they need to use Excels. And inventory is another thing where they need to keep track of where the material is coming on, coming out. And you can input all those in Excel, but having good formulas and understanding of how to tally different things and how tie different sheets together. So if you change one thing, other change get reflected, it gets complicated. And you need really good understanding of Excel to pull that off. And that's where like ChatGPT kind of tool becomes so powerful, because you can ask them, you can take, like you said, take a snapshot of your data and give it to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to tell you this thing with this thing, what formula should I use, or how should I do it. And even ChatGPT can write your Excel sheet. So you can ask, give the snapshot of data and ask it to give you Excel sheet, and it will, you can download that Excel sheet with the formulas in it. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
becomes really powerful.
yeah, and definitely. So now you have this Excel expert, right? That you can ask whatever question you have about it. But I
Yeah,
think something you mentioned, and I think it's very important now, is you you can just copy paste the formula and go with it without really understanding what it's doing,
yeah,
or you can read some of the explanation that the AI is going to give you, but also ask more questions, right? So more critical thinking, like, okay, yes, this is the formula you're giving me, but is there, maybe asking if is there another way in which I can get to the thing I want to do, right?
yeah,
With another formula, with another structure of my data, right? So not just going with the first thing it gives you, but just asking a few follow-up questions, and then at the end you decide, okay, yeah, the original formula was the best thing. I can just copy paste.
yeah,
um, Something I don't think I have tried. I don't know if you I think now you can upload an Excel file to ChatGPT, right?
yeah, yeah,
And
you can.
it's gonna read it and understand. So now it's more powerful because uh, normally Excel's documents have multiple tabs, right? It's
Yeah,
very difficult to find one that only has one tab. We have
yeah,
multiple tabs, and some of them are interconnected, and it just the mess starts getting bigger at that point.
yeah,
But now you can upload an Excel file directly and have ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude understand how that file is structured, right? What's in each tab, and how are things interconnected, all that. So whenever you ask for something, then it does a really good job at giving you the answers, right?
yeah. You can download, you can create a project in ChatGPT, and you can upload your Excel sheet, and it can understand the structure, you can analyze data, you can do everything. And it can go beyond one step. Like Excel itself is somehow limited by data, like what it can do. It can do a lot of things, but it is also limited, and it's slow also. So, but then ChatGPT can write a program and execute on your behalf based on the data that's in Excel. It's a faster way to do things, and you can tally those things. And the fun fact that I like about this kind of workflow is when you ask ChatGPT something, like some kind of open-ended question, like what's 5 plus 5, it could say 9, right? And think of it a complicated scenario, like what is this, if I have data from like past 5 years of the the trucks that has been unloaded in this site, right? Let's say it's a dump yard and we have trucks coming in for last 5 years, and I put in the data, and I can give data to ChatGPT and say what's the tally of all this. So it's going to run its machine learning algorithm, it's going to add all those things and give you the final number. But you no way can like r- sum that up and say that the number it gave you is the right one or the wrong one. But when it gives a formula in the Excel sheet, you just need to look at if that formula is covering all the scope of it and within, and you can run that, and then that's going to be correct. So when so the the nuance of AI that it can be wrong, you can overcome that with this kind of workflows when you use Excel kind of situation.
Yeah. So instead of having the AI give you the answer to the sum or whatever, just ask for the formula, run the formula. That way, you know that the
It is
number is
correct.
correct instead of having to trust the AI, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I think you're starting to touch on something that I think is the next step, right? The first one we just talked about. You can ask ChatGPT to help you write formulas and things like that. But now we're getting into data analysis,
Mm,
right? Because in the end, most of the times, Excel is just a data repository. It's just a bunch of data in a tabular format, and
right.
we need to do analysis on that, right? And that's the next layer of how you can use these AIs to help you with data analysis, right?
Right.
And you can do things super interesting when you combine your Excel file with these models, right? Like creating dashboards. So if you provide it with the data with your Excel file, and then you can ask, hey, go into this tab, and I don't know if it's monthly information, right? For every month, graph or provide or generate a dashboard, an interactive dashboard where I can see what happened with the data, right? So the AI
Yeah.
is going to take that data, and then it's going to, like you said, write a program
Yeah.
to give you that interactive uh, visualization dashboard, right?
Yeah. And construction is, even though we are superintendent and engineer and project manager, a lot of the work is in the data analysis. For example, how many trucks came to the site, how many material, which material delivered on what site, which subcontractors came to the site, and how many laborers they brought together to do the work, how many hours they did the work, where my project schedule is going, why is it delayed. Maybe this guy's the subcontractor who promised us certain amount of delivery of the work, they didn't do that work. So now you need to understand where these anomalies are and why this is happening. And for superintendents, mostly they are so tuned to this thing that they can do a lot of things in their head, right? They know the pulse of what's happening, so they can do those things in their head and it stays in their head. But they also collect a lot of data, so now they can use this tool very simply to confirm their hunch about, like, hey, maybe the subcontractor A is causing the delay down the line, and every other subcontractors are also getting affected by this, so they can confirm that bias very easily with the data. Same goes for engineers, like they are doing a lot of data analysis and it takes a lot of time to sanitize data, put it in a certain way, and then create your charts and graphs and whatnot. So they can use tools like this to create nice graphs, plot the data, confirm their biases or not confirm them. Those kind of things become super easy with ChatGPT. And even tool like ours, Flowlly, that can do like even more complicated stuff to give them the charts right out of the gate. So it becomes really powerful that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Using it to analyze the data, right? And the cool thing is, like you said, maybe you as an engineer, you have to do data analysis, right? And you don't really know the answer to the question you have until you run the analysis. And running the analysis might take you uh, from 5 minutes to maybe a couple of hours, right? Depending on
Yeah.
how complex the analysis is, and if you have all the data, and how much how familiar you are with using Excel, right?
Yeah.
I think putting aside the fact that if the data is there or not,
And
now.
maybe we should talk like how, because like there are people who are really good at the good at Excel kind of workflows, and they are always complaining that they have to manually insert the data into Excel, right? And that's a big problem, right? So for example, if you are an administrative you're doing some administrative work in a construction office, and every weekend you are handed like hundreds of expense sheet, right, from different employees in your company, and now you need to go and put all those Excel sheets in the all you have to go and put those expense sheet in the Excel sheet, right? And then before you can do your analysis, and that consumes a lot of your time. Maybe you are in charge of a warehouse and people are taking out inventory, uh, because construction warehouses are not that sophisticated, so people are taking, there are not like markers or trackers. Somebody is just putting all those information in the Excel sheet, and they are handing out you tickets after tickets and after tickets, and your job is to just input the data in Excel sheet, right? So that's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and you had that. So how do you, is there a way to automate that?
Yeah, and yeah, I think there's a lot of paper-based workflows, right? Like even attendance.
Right.
Anyone walking into the site, maybe they have to sign an attendance sheet, right?
Yeah.
Yes, some places are more sophisticated and have digital ways, but many have paper forms, right?
Right.
So now you have a bunch of paper. What do you, and you ideally need to transcribe it into Excel, right? So
Right.
how do you do it? I think that the easiest way is take a photo of those pages, those pieces
Yeah.
of paper, upload them to ChatGPT, to Gemini, and ask it to extract the data and put it in a table, right?
Right.
And tell it that then you're gonna that put it in a table, so then you can copy it into Excel, right?
Yeah.
So it will generate the table for you. Then you just copy and paste in Excel. If
Yeah.
you're using Gemini, Gemini already gives you a way to convert that table into spreadsheet, right? But
Right.
that's if you're using Google's suite. But
Yeah.
if you're Excel, then yeah, you just give it photos of your paper and ask it to extract the data and put it in a table for you, and then you just copy paste, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the most straightforward process,
Yeah.
and now you have all the data there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely,
Or just go to your scan machine, scan all the forms that you've received for that day. Take that PDF that you received on your email, upload it to ChatGPT, and say, "I want serial number, the expense. This guy did it. Maybe write it down on the expense sheet. It was submitted by whom, right? And then what was the expense? What was the category? And ask it to give you a list of all those things. So it's going to read that PDF. It's going to extract out all the information and give you that table that you wanted, right? That will save you 2 hours right there. And
yeah.
copy that table, put it into an Excel, or ask ChatGPT, can you convert it into Excel sheet? And it probably will, and download that, right?
And I think there's there's something when you're doing these things that now you need to understand what is this AI, right? Because
Mhm.
for example, something that surprised me when we were playing with this idea of just scanning receipts and things like that was that these models, they've been trained on a lot of data,
Mhm.
right? So maybe what part of what you need to have in your table is this food, is this material, is this, right, what is this expense for, and the only thing you have is the name of the establishment where the
Right.
purchase happened or whatever, right? So some names might be really weird, and you don't really know what is that they put.
Yeah.
But if you ask the AI, it is very possible that they have that name in their memory somehow, and they would be able to say, yes, this is the name of our restaurant, right?
Right.
So this is most probably food, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's really powerful because that's now an additional layer of information that you didn't have. That if you need, it would take a lot of time for you to figure, and now
Yeah.
you can just do in a few minutes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You probably have to go to Google and search. Like this guy submitted ABC contractors. We had $20 expense for a pipe fitting. You could see like AI probably know it's a hardware store down at the Santa Clara Street or something like that, and then it can
Exactly.
fill you that information, and so it will make your life so easy, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is you could enable search tools in the like tools like ours or ChatGPT or other tools, and so it will go and search the internet and find you the right information if it doesn't know that, right?
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah. So it can Google search the name, it can Google search the address, and based on that, give you more information if you need to, right? So
right,
it's kind of understanding that this thing is not just for extracting information from a paper, but expanding the data you already have because they can do more with it, right? So
yeah. And so any kind of research work, like let's say if you are looking for material prices from 20 different vendors or something, and they have it on their website, so you could enable deep search in the ChatGPT, Gemini. They all have deep search, and you could say like search for this information and create an Excel sheet. Ask, go to different websites that's in this area and find out what are the pricing for this material is listed and create me an Excel sheet. The system will create an Excel sheet with all these data points, and you can ask to add also links for those data, uh, the elements, and it will find and put the link so you can click and verify. But that would save you so much time when you're researching and putting items in the Excel sheet.
yeah. Yeah, and if you already have some prices, you can use it to compare it, are your prices higher or lower to where the market is right now, right?
Yeah,
So you can just run these things every morning from the same spreadsheet and just track how's the market doing, right?
yeah,
Every month or like whenever you need. But the thing is, you don't have to now go into 40 different websites to find the data. The AI will do that for you and give you
yeah,
an answer. So that's super powerful. So now you have all the data, right? You were able to gather more data or get it from all the paper you have. Now it's analysis time, right?
hmm,
And I think that's also where the AI shines because it has all the data, it can see all the data, and it can do operations on the data, right?
yeah,
And we were talking about engineers having to analyze the data and maybe to do a simple analysis, it might require a couple of hours, right? And then
right,
oh, something is wrong here. I need to go and figure out what's where's the error or what's going on, and then another hour and another hour and another hour, right? And at the end of the day, you just run something very simple because it took you 6 hours plus all
yeah,
the distractions you have throughout, right? So you're
yeah,
thinking about a formula, someone comes into to the office, now you're distracted, and when you come back, it's like, well, what's I gonna do with these formulas? It's just very difficult to
yeah,
finish those things, right? But now you can ask the AI to do the analysis for you. In a couple of minutes, it will give you an analysis. You can review, ask it to do things differently, or ask it to redo the analysis, right? But now you can have it working and doing all those things for you uh, while you're doing something else, right? So
yeah.
it's uh, it's very powerful, I think, on that
Yeah,
front.
and so I've dealt with a lot of data in my past life, and that was my role. Um, and so the your agency become very powerful in the way you can analyze the data. For example, my when we were tunneling, we installed a lot of sensors over the buildings, and we would see how tunneling underground would uh, would move these buildings, right? So you have data from this TBM machine or tunnel boring machine going in, but you also have data from the building's movement, and you also have temperature data, right? So it's like the sun is shining on which side of the building, and if it's a still building, it's going to probably expand because the sun is hitting it directly, right? And it's going to slightly move, right? And then there's a machine moving down. So we had to do a lot of analysis and like, what is that the building's movement, what is causing this building's movement? Is it the sun? Is it the wind flowing in one direction that the building has started to moving? Is it the ground itself is settling down? And we have sensors on the ground, so you need to see, is the movement coming from the below the ground, up the ground, and is it affecting the building? So there's lots and lots of data analysis that need to be done. The point being, the AI can do data analysis in a different way, but that's where your expertise comes in. Like you need to tell it, like you need to understand, like, hey, the sun was shining. Maybe it is showing a movement, but this is because of the expansion of the building's exterior, where you have your sensors placed, and the building is made of steel, so it's going to probably expand that much. So you should not tie that movement with the movement of the ground, right? So picking up this nuances, which is probably the expertise or your field's expertise, gives you superpower, because the tool is going to do what you're going to tell it to do, but you can see the whole worldview which the tool cannot see. So you need to bring in your expertise when you are doing this analysis. Otherwise, you are not going to be satisfied with the results, and you'll probably think it's wrong. But it is a tool. It's just a shovel. You need to dig the ground. You need to bring your expertise. You need to bring your perspective, and you really need to use your brain before you use that tool to do your bidding for you.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a few minutes left. I think a couple of weeks ago you were kind of working on automating some of these Excel workflows, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about one or two of those workflows that you were working on, and why did you pick those, and what was the result?
Yeah. So I think these are very simple analysis that I've done. Let me share my screen so I can probably share. Um,
I don't think we ever done share screen in the podcast, but
before,
you should be able
no.
to do it.
All right, let's see. Share. Can you, yeah, see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this one is pretty simple. This is a bid level analysis. So you received couple of bids from couple of different subcontractors, and you need to analyze those bids. And this kind of workflow, it's very pre-construction type of workflow, where you have received a lot of bids from different people, and then the bids come in all different shapes and sizes. So you need to take the numbers that's in the bid and put it into an Excel sheet, and then the next competitor or subcontractor provide a very different bid that looks completely different, but now you need to level those two items together. Their numbers are off, sometimes they have weird writing, sometimes there are scanned copies. So you need to take those bids and then create an Excel sheet out of it, and then you have to compare them. And it takes a lot of manpower, time to do those things. And so you could easily automate those kind of things with AI, asking AI to compare the sheets and create sheets and all those. And this one is particularly interesting because it never stops, even though it's a pre-construction work, but you are always find lack of scope or new scope creeping on your project, and you will always be reaching out to existing or new subcontractor, and then your job becomes to find like what is the right contractor or subcontractor for this job. And so this kind of work always keep coming every few weeks or month in your work scope, so you can easily automate those kind of things. Another one that I like is this kind of workflow, which is like you are doing some kind of planning for upcoming tasks, and you have certain amount of manpower, you have certain amount of equipment, and you have to do those kind of work. And generally subcontractors or superintendent, sorry, generally superintendent prefer Excel to do small scope of work, and they have to think about a lot of different scenarios, like how, when the work will start, uh, what they will do, how they will assign manpowers to those like different kind of work. They also need to understand how the equipment is going to be utilized, who is going to utilize those equipments, and all those things. So you could ask AI to do your bidding, so you could give them like direction on what kind of work you are going to do, and AI will come back with an Excel sheet that you can do and build those kind of things. So that's another kind of work. And then third kind of work, I think this is a simple one that I was playing with. So I give AI like different receipts from the expenses that I had. For example, this is a Home Depot receipt that I bought, and I asked AI to create an Excel sheet for me with the expenses, and it put all the expenses in this summary and created a nice Excel expense report for me. So it saved me like an hour at least. So that's kind of work, but the idea is same. You can ask, you can give files to AI with some direction on what to do, and ask it to come back with like Excel sheet or what kind of format you want, how you want, and then it should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, super, super cool. So yeah, I think we don't have more time, but yeah, I guess the learning is, yes, the AI is, there are ways to get the AI to live in Excel, and I think Microsoft is pushing some AI updates where you will be able to interact directly with an AI from your Excel. Same thing with Google,
Yeah.
but that might mean you have to pay for the most expensive package they have and things like that, right? So if you're not there, the easiest is just upload your files to ChatGPT or to Gemini or to Claude, ask your questions, and use it to generate formulas so you can improve your spreadsheets. Ask it to help you with analysis, to find more information for you. Right? That is easy. It's cheap, and yeah, you don't need to figure out how to use other softwares and things like that. You just open the chat, upload a file, and start asking questions, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's really the core thing here is it doesn't have to be super complicated. It's just start using it.
Yeah, yeah. Just try. Use your Excel. You might stumble a few times. AI is imperfect. So are you. So yeah, play nicely with it. Try a few times. Maybe it works for you. If it works, it's gonna save a lot of time. If it doesn't work, maybe ask somebody uh, before giving birth. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool, man. Nice seeing you again, and we'll have the next episode in a couple of weeks.
All right. Sounds
All right.
good.
Bye.